Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, Deivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. Chapter 16, verses 1, 2, and 3. We have seen three Deivi Sampads. First is fearlessness, then purity of mind, then third Jnana Yoga Vyavastitiki. These three we have seen. Now the fourth Sampad, Dhanam. Again verses 1, 2, and 3. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi Dhanam Dhamascha Yagyascha Swadhyayastabharjavam Ahimsa Satyam Akrodha Tyagashantirabhaishunam Daya Bhudeshwaro Luptvam Mardavam Rirachabalam Tejashama Adrogo Nadimanita Bhavanti Sampadam Deivim Abhijadasya Bharata. Swami Dayananda Saraswati quotes Adi Shankara here while explaining Dhana. Adi Shankara qualifies Dhana as giving according to one's capacity. Certain conditions are specified for charity. First condition, in giving, you must not exceed your limits. This is very important, that you should not place yourself later in the position of a receiver. First, so you must give according to your capacity, limit. You should not say, sir, everything because our wants are always more. So we want to receive more than give more. So that should not be the criteria. So you should give, but according to your limits. 2. Charity must be to a worthy recipient. So how to find out this? That's a difficult proposition. But it must be to a worthy recipient. Because you cannot go and give a thief food. You eat food and then you go and do your whatever you want, housebreaking or etc. No. You must be to a worthy recipient. A poor fellow, a beggar, or anybody like that. Not a person who under the keys of, for example, temple charity, some people come, but they take the money. It should not be given to them. Like that. How to judge them? It's a difficult question, but Adi Shankara says charity must be given to a worthy recipient. These are all additions by me, not by Swami. Swami Dayananda only said charity must be to a worthy recipient. Third, the giver must have proper attitude, both mental and physical. While giving, you must have proper attitude. Fourth, it must be given with Shraddha. Anything which you do without Shraddha, it is a complete waste. So it must not be given. Charity must not be given without Shraddha. In giving, while giving, both the giver and the receiver must feel blessed. That is the fifth one. Then it is Dhana. In giving, if you feel the other person is obliged, then it is not giving. Suppose you feel I am giving, then it is not Dhana. The person receiving should be happy and should not feel small or humiliated. We generally throw the coin without touching that fellow, and we feel what sort of a person I have to give. So that kind of attitude should not be there. You should not humiliate that person. You should also feel happy when he receives. In Dhana, Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, your attitude makes all the difference. When you give, you forget about your giving. The giver should feel fortunate that God has placed him in that position. But he should not have that pride in giving. one has to consider it as an opportunity because anytime it can be reversed. That is the beauty of life. Again, I will read it. One has to consider it as an opportunity because anytime it can be reversed. Then the question is, why should I give? In giving, whether I gain or lose. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, in giving you lose and you also gain. But the gain is much more than your losing. In giving, there is an element of joy. Further, to the extent you happily give the things you love, you are free from those things. Attachment goes because you are giving. Someone who does not have anything that he cannot happily part with is totally free. I repeat this. This is an important sentence. Someone who does not have anything that he cannot happily part with is totally free because he has given already everything, whatever he had. In India, Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, Dhana is a deep rooted cultural value. In Rishikesh, in Rishikesh alone, hundreds of ashrams are there which are run on public charity. They don't take money, they give food daily. I have seen personally. They don't ask money. Everything is free. They daily they are feeding people who are they won't ask any question. You come, eat, you go. Swami Dayananda Saraswati quotes about his village in Mayavaram. In that village, they considered that running a restaurant, that is, if you run a restaurant, it is a papa because you are selling food. According to that village, food should not be sold. So, what they will do is, if you are running a restaurant, then they will neither give their daughter or son in marriage to that family, nor take their son or daughter in marriage in their family. So, they consider it as a extreme papa selling food. It was in his village. Nowadays, everywhere the only food restaurants they are making money. So he was talking about his village. Maybe during his time when he was a small kid, it must have happened. Now it must have been changed also. I don't know. According to Swami Chinmayananda, charity must come from one sense of abundance. In charity, one feels oneness between the giver and the recipient. One will not feel this noble urge to share unless one identifies himself with the others. Thus, dana is capacity to restrain oneself from the urge to acquire, possess, and enjoy to the exclusion of others. When you give dana, you want to share your wealth with somebody. You feel your oneness. Why you are giving? Whenever, whatever your wife is asking, you are giving. Whatever your son is asking, you are giving. You are not minding that expenditure. Why? Because you feel you are there. You are your wife and your son are nothing but you are. That is what you feel. Same way when you give it to others, you feel that you are there. The receiver is also yourself. The giver is also yourself. That kind of a mentality you should have. This sense must be replaced with spirit of sacrifice. That is, the person who wants to acquire, enjoy, and possession, and acquire, possess, and enjoy, he must replace that sense with the spirit of sacrifice. It consists in sharing with others the objects of this world which one possesses. Dana develops the capacity to detach oneself from wealth one possesses and share it with others who are poorer. This is what Swami Chinmayananda says. Kanji Paramacharya says, of all the dharmas, whatever dharma you take, dana is the supreme dharma. It is always said as dana dharma. Dharma follows dana. Dana dharma. While doing dana, no one should see the receiver's caste, creed, religion, jati, race, country, nothing should be seen. especially when you are doing annadana, whoever it is. The very fact that one jiva is in some difficulty, that is enough for you, for the giver to help. Whatever help you can do, you must do. Acharya says, even if you have to give your life, you must give it. He quotes the story of a king in Bhagavatam, Randi Deva. It was a very, very interesting story, beautifully explained by him. I am cutting short it. There was a king by name Randi Deva. He was a king. I need not have to explain. King means about his wealth and this thing. He became extremely poor because he gave everything. He was going on giving daily charity, so he became poor. Finally, he had only little food. One poor Brahmin approached him. Then he asked for it. The king gave that food also. That food would have made him survive, but he gave it. And he had little water, maybe a glass of water, half a glass of water. He thought that king thought he will drink and survive. Another poor man approached him and said, "Please give me at least that water." So he gave that water also, and finally he died. It is not a happy ending, but a sad ending. The point is, Paramacharya says, even if one has to do pranatyaga, that is, even if you have to give your life, you must do dana. That is the point which he says. Of all the danas, as I already said, Annadana is the supreme dana. Acharya quotes Tirumandiram by Tirumular. Yarkum idumin, avar ivar ennan min. Wonderful saying. All Tamil, these things will be in one or two, a few words, but having a wealth of knowledge. Yarkum idumin, avar ivar ennan min. Disease of hunger is common to all. So, yarkum idumin, whoever it is, don't see the person. Yarkum idumin, you give it. Our ivar ennan min. Don't ask about his kula, gotra, jadi, race. No, no, this fellow I know. He's a rogue. Don't ask anything. Yarkum idumin. Whoever it is, you give it. That is what Tirumula says. Paramacharya quotes Bhagavan Krishna himself. Bhagavan Krishna in chapter 3, verse 13 said, Yagyashishtashinas santaham muchyante sarvagilbishaihi punjate te tvagam pabam e pachantyatma karanat. Bhagavan said clearly, the one who cooks and eats food for himself and his family alone, that fellow eats nothing but papa. He is the eater of sin. Bhagavan clearly says, the fellow who cooks and eats food for himself alone and his family, he eats nothing but papa. That is sin. He is a eater of sin. Only in Annadana, one can satisfy a person. Paramacharya says this. When the stomach is full, even the recipient will beg not to serve him anything for eating. One more, sir, have little more payasam, you say. He will refuse. He will lie down on the leaf and say, no, 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 I can't eat enough. In all other cases, money, wealth, etc., whatever you give, how much so ever you give, he will ask little more. Even if you give 10 lakhs as donation, he will say, sir, can you give me that auto fare also? So that this 10 lakhs, I will reserve it for that. That is the attitude of people. This is my addition. It is not said by Acharya. Acharya only says, only in Annadana you can satisfy everybody, not by giving other articles. In Tamil, another saying in praise of Annadana is, Undi koduttar, uir koduttare. The one who gives food actually gives life to that jiva. Undi koduttar. That means you give food. Uir koduttare. You are giving life to that person. Our entire body is nothing but food. Just think, a life which was so small, not even you can't see when it is in the garbha, in the womb of the mother. You can't see it. It's so small. Maybe like a dot, you can say, which cannot be seen with the naked eyes, is now 90 kgs. What it is made of? It is made of only by food. So, undi koduttar, uyir koduttare. Another interesting story on Dana, which is quoted by Parmacharya, is the famous story of in Mahabharata. To cut short the entire story again, it is again a fantastic story. But to cut short it, we have to these stories, hearing these stories itself is punya. We may not be able to do that much dana, but hearing the story itself is punya. That is why I am telling the story, even though I am cut shorting it. After the victory in Kurukshetra, Dharmaraja performed a big celebration. Many kings participated. Delicious food was served. Gifts and charities were made to all the kings by Dharmaraja. Brahmanas, poor fellows, whoever it is, whoever came and asked for anything, they got it. Take it. Everyone was praising Pandava. Arey yaar, this kind of food I have never had. This kind of gifts I never received in my life. I have not seen this kind. Yeah, well, Pandavas were extremely happy. Then at that time there was a mongoose which was roaming around in that hall. It was a strange sight. That mongoose, half of its body was gold, and half of its body was as in a natural flesh. Then these people were, everybody was praising, it cannot be like this. But that mongoose, it rolled on the floor, on the food taken by the kings and others, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Shudras, everybody. Then the mongoose started laughing. It was again a strange thing. Arey, yeah, this mongoose itself is looking very strange. Half of its body is gold and half of its body is flesh. And it is also laughing. More than that, it said, it mocked at the Pandavas and said, what is this? This is useless dana. What kind of charity is this? It is not equal to 0.00001% of that poor Brahmin. Then these people got annoyed. They wanted to hear, what is this? Why are you saying this? Everybody was praising, you are saying like this. Then it started telling the story. It said there was a poor Brahmana in the Kurukshetra. After the war, he was living with his family, consisting of his wife, son, and daughter in law. And after the war, naturally there won't be food and water. That you can see even today. In some countries, they are putting bombs. Here and there, they were putting bombs. People are suffering like anything. There is nothing to eat. So naturally, there was in Kurukshetra also there was nothing to eat. So this Brahmin went to the paddy field and collected some paddy, and they grounded it into a powder, which maybe a handful of powder was there, which they were about to eat. At that time, they heard a knock on the door, and there was a poor Brahmin. So they, that a handful of powder, they divided into four to survive. One portion for husband, wife, son, and daughter-in-law. That one poor beggar came and asked, "Sir, I am extremely hungry. Please give me something to eat." Then that poor Brahmin gave his share. Then the wife, then the son, then the daughter-in-law. All the four gave their share, and they died because they did not have anything to eat. Unlike the beautiful ending of stories. No, immediately somebody blessed him and he got gold, etc. No, it is not like that. He died. The entire family died. So that mongoose, it was in search of food. It went there. Some powder was spilled on the floor. So the powder touched its body, and half of its body became gold. So it said it wanted to convert the another half into gold. So it went wherever charities were given, but another half remained the same. So it said, your dana is absolutely incomparable with that dana made by the Brahmin. That is what it said. So the message is, the story conveys, what the story conveys is, even if you are poor, even if you have to die at the cost of your life, one must do charity, dana, annadana especially. That is what this says. Another interesting story, because it is coming under Dana and Dama, the next one. Danam Damascha Yagyascha Damas. Again, in Dama it is coming. So I will skip it for now. That we will see it in the that interesting story in the next Deivi Sampad. Parmacharya says, when you give dana, you must give it with Sri and Hri. This is a new one. Sri means you should give happily. Your face should reflect the happiness of your heart. You should not give, this fellow has again come. I have to give. Wow, this has become a nuisance. That kind of attitude you don't give. It's better you don't give. You must give happily. That is Sri. Further, here, Kri, you should give with Hri. It means shyness. You must give with shyness, meaning that I am able to give only this much to this person and not more. You should give without other people knowing it, not because if somebody knows it again, that fellow will also come and ask you. It is because your ahankara should not increase. What you want to reduce should never increase. Your ego should not go up. That is what Paramacharya says. Paramacharya again says, the one who says nasti nasti, meaning no, no, to those who is asking for alms in this janma. If you say no, no to them, in the next janma, he will be born as beggar, as a beggar, who will be begging, saying, Degi, Degi. In this janma, if you say nasti, nasti, in next janma or after that janma, one janma at least, you will be asking Degi, Degi, please give, etc. It is not to threaten us. It is definitely not to threaten us. Because Paramacharya, he will say the truth whether you like it or not. That is the truth. It is a cause and effect. That's it. There are three types of dana. Satvika dana, then Madhyama dana and Adama. So there are three types. We will see this in the next chapter. Finally, the one who gives dana should give up that thinking that he is the one who has given that dana. That is what Paramacharya says. Even the thinking that I am giving dana, that also should be given in dana. Na mama, that is what he says. I am not giving this. The pala of that dana, the fruit of that dana, the punya of that dana, it should not come to me. That should be your thinking. I have taken from this world, given that which belongs to this world to the receiver. The punya of that also should not come to me. It should go to the world only. That should also be your attitude. That thinking should also come to the giver. The pala, the fruit that comes because of this dana, that is the punya pala, it should also be given up. That is the highest level of dana. That is what he says. Generally, we also do jhana, but we always think that we will get a place in heaven. Or in the next janma, I should not be asking for degi, degi. Something like that you have. In our thinking, it is natural for all human beings. But Paramacharya says, even that thinking should not be there in that dana. Paramacharya says, the rich, if he gives a check, sitting in his AC room, it is not dana. Suppose you some common work, some temple building, or some those days they used to construct a pond. So if there is something, the rich, if he sits in his office room, AC room, and gives a check, that is not dana. A poor, if he gives bodily effort, then it is not dana. Rich should go to that place, do some bodily work, at least for an hour. The poor, the poorest of poor, let us assume, he should give at least 10 rupees for that work. That is dana. Dana is not only food, it could be anything. Vidya dana is again one of the important danas. Vidya is education. You give education to somebody, that is the best dana. Even the English saying is, don't give fish, teach him how to fish. Because you don't want the beggar to remain beggar forever. Sannyasis are begging, that's a different matter. But others begging, If somebody comes like me and daily begging and you are feeding him, what is the use? Then I will remain a lazy fellow. You are making me. That is why uh, Adi Shankara said, you must give it to a recipient who is worthy recipient. Daily I am coming to your house for having food. What will you do? And if you think Dana is good, you will. No. Don't give him fish. Teach him how to fish. That is also another rule. In Tamil, there is another saying. பாத்திரமருந்து பிச்சையிடு பிச்சையிடு. There are many wrong interpretations available on this. According to me, it means you should know what the receiver wants. Take the example of a beggar who is tremendously hungry. If I tell him, come, I will teach you Bhagavad Gita, I will give some lessons, whatever I know on Bhagavad Gita, I will tell you. That is what I have, I will give you. Then that fellow probably will curse me and go because he is tremendously hungry. What he needs at that time is food. I can't give him Bhagavad Gita. Even Swami Vivekananda says it is a crime to teach Vedanta philosophy to a hungry person. If person is hungry, if you go and say, no, no, I will teach you best Vedanta, what is the use? He says it is a crime to teach Vedanta philosophy to a hungry person. On the other hand, you think, if Bhagavan Krishna offered Arjuna at this time, now he is going on teaching Bhagavad Gita. If he says, come, we will go and have a sumptuous meal, then we will see. Arjuna is not interested in that. Arjuna, he will 100% he would have refused. Maybe he would have criticized Krishna because his hunger is for knowledge. He is totally involved in knowledge, that teaching. So you must see what one needs and then give according to his need. That is Dana, to satisfy his need. That is why Pathiramarindu Pichaidu. What the man needs, that you give. Swami Vivekananda says, in fact, the giver should thank the receiver for giving him an opportunity to help. That is important. If there is no receiver, where is the question of giver? Those days, just imagine, this Karna was going on giving. How he had, how he was giving throughout his lifetime. Had I been there, in one sentence I would have made Karna a beggar. I would have asked Karna, you give everything to me, you just get out of your house. Finish, matter over. Because Karna was giving everything. No. Those days, people will not take anything. Rule number one. They thought that it is a paba to receive gift, charity. So only the deserving, most deserving fellow will come and ask for things. The second rule is that person, he will not ask like me, Karna, you give everything, you get out of your house. Whatever he wanted to live, that alone he will ask. That is why Karna was able to do charity throughout his life. Everybody is praising Karna. You see the other side. Nobody took charity. Even today, some Brahmanas, they will not take charity. They will refuse. Because it is a paba. They have to do so much of Gayatri Japa uh, to offset it. So they will not receive it. Second is, even if some Brahmanas, they take it. Even today they are there. They will take it only to that extent, what they want. Not more than that. They will say, no, I don't want it. Even today they are living. So those days were like that. Another important thing we should note is discarding your old clothes, books, unwanted items in the house. You are keeping it for a long time, decades. Now some NGO came. Immediately you cleared everything. That is not Dana. Sir, I gave my clothes in charity. That is not Dana. The thinking, that thinking itself is uncharitable thinking. Actually, the greatest charity is given by Bhagavan Krishna. He is the greatest charitable person. No one is above him. In the form of nature, he provides everything to all living beings. Your food, clothes, shelter. Who gave you all these things? Just think. Can you give it back to him? Any one thing, you can only show it to him. He will not take anything. So the greatest charitable person is, according to me, is Bhagavan Krishna. So every day when you take, the food or clothing or something, you must think, "Arey, this has been given to me by the greatest charitable person, Bhagavan Krishna." Again, every topic is tremendously interesting, but it is very huge also. There are many more wonderful stories. I have omitted many stories in this and half-heartedly cut the interesting stories because there are some other interesting things in that, but I am cutting short. Each story is enchanting with a profound message. Unfortunately, these values are not part of the curriculum in schools because it has to come from the school children onwards. This character has to be developed, but it is lost. These are all universal values. It is not relevant to one religion, one caste, one race. Universal values. So that is what I want to say. So enough has been said on Dhana. Next Deivi Sampad, we will see you tomorrow. श्रीभगवानुवाच अभयं सत्त्वसंशुद्धिः ज्ञानयोगव्यवस्थितिः दानं दमश्च यज्ञश्च स्वाध्यायस्तपहार्जवम् अहिंसा सत्यमक्रोधः त्यागः शान्तिरभैषुणम् दया भूतेष्वलोलुप्त्वम् मार्दवं ह्रीरचाबलम् तेजः शौचम् भद्रोहो नादिमानिता भवन्ति सम्पदं दैवीम् अभिजातस्य भारत हरि ओम् सर्वं कृष्णार्पणमस्तु नारायण 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 नारायण